Fuck it, we'll do it live.
Fuck it, we'll do it live.
Do it live! Where's the music?
Oh, there's no music here, man. I'm lucky I know how to hit that fucking start button. I don't know how to run any music. You kidding me?
Got a whistle or something.
There we go. Well, we are live, so this is Stone Guy 223. I appreciate everybody tuning in. And let's see. Okay, there we go. I was waiting for. We had two Anthonys in here. So from my left, we've got. Hey, what's your channel name, Anthony?
I just use A Crispy, my name. A. And it's
Crispy. All right. And then we've got. Oh shit! There's no music here, man. I'm lucky I know how to. There we go. Yankee's got his gun channels in the background as usual. Then we've got Glock Guru.
What's up?
Next to him is Yankee Marshall, who's probably AFK. Then Gun Websites.
Hey, thanks for the invite.
Yeah. Mr. Hank Strange.
What's up, guys? What's going on?
And we got the Tack Daddy.
What's up, man? I'm sending you a message. Please invite him.
Oh yeah. Well, you just go ahead then. If you want him here. And
I don't know how to. I can't invite someone, can I?
Well. Hold on. You can send him the link.
The best way to invite someone is to send them that link from the top, like the URL.
Got it.
It cross-platform gets to them.
Got it. Thank you. It's on the way.
And then next to him we've got Chrome Freak.
Hey, y'all. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you, sir. And all right, so there it is. We are live, and now that Yankee Marshall's back, he's got some words for you.
Do I get to start the show?
You start it off, brother.
I'm not going to call anybody out on anything they said or judge anybody as people. I don't want to piss anybody. Well, I do want to piss people off, but I want to do it in the least offensive way possible. But I want to have a little diatribe, if you might, about what I just watched a few minutes ago, which in my opinion was one of the most apologetic, bootlicking gun chats I've ever seen in my entire life.
Nice.
When I hear things like, if you've got time to fire a gun, you've got time to get away. Or, there's no safe direction to ever fire a gun. Or, what if they hurt somebody if they fire a warning shot? Or, oh, well, we as gun owners would never want anyone to fire a warning shot. I mean, was I watching the Dianne Feinstein Rockettes tonight? Or what was I... Because,
I don't know what the fuck you were watching.
Are you denying that people die from warning shots?
Yes, I will deny that because
you're wrong.
No, people die from people shooting guns at angles. All that stuff you read on Wikipedia, if you look at the little footnotes at the bottom, they're all from news stories and newspaper articles and editorials. They're not from factual medical records. It's already been proven that a 45 caliber bullet fired into the air at anything less than a 45-degree angle cannot break through a cotton cloth when it's falling to earth.
Well, you're wrong about the... you're absolutely wrong. People die from celebratory gunfire every year. Every
no,
year.
they don't.
Celebratory gunfire isn't warning shots, though.
And it's also from people doing this. Boom, boom, and boom, boom, boom. Not this. Not straight into the ground.
Celebratory gunfire isn't a specific thing. It's like Yankee said. It could be just shooting like that one video that's gone crazy on Facebook where the kid shoots the gun from waist level up into the guy's face. There's all kinds of stuff that are going to cause accidents with celebratory gunfire that has alcohol involved.
And plus,
someone always has the presence of mind to be 90 degrees straight up every time is ridiculous.
No, they never do. They never do. But if you're talking about warning shots, then it's ridiculous to assume that no one has the presence of mind to look at the nearest car door, refrigerator, cement wall, which would definitely stop every round we have up to us at this point, unless they happen to be shooting like a 308 or bigger.
Rounds ricochet off of cement, just like they're
ricochet all the time. Yeah, who cares though?
That's a dangerous act. It's a reckless.
It is dangerous. It's also dangerous to get raped, and it's dangerous to have to use lethal force to defend yourself. But guess what? They didn't bring the danger on to innocent society. That bad guy brought the danger to that single mom.
Then why are you shooting a wall and not shooting the bad guy?
And people
let's talk about circumstances. What if it's not a human being? What if it's a critter? Are you not allowed to fire a warning shot off to scare off a mountain lion? Because we have mountain lions out here. What if it's something like a wild dog in your neighborhood that's rabid? You don't think a warning shot's going to scare that thing off? Or at least give the chance to run it off before you have to try shooting rounds into it? I don't have to. I mean, I shouldn't have to justify all the reasons a free person might need to use a firearm to another firearm owner. Come on.
And let's make it illegal if the person fires a warning shot erratically or without due cause.
Exactly. You're still responsible for your bullets.
Or in an irresponsible manner, and then they harm someone, then that's the illegal act. It shouldn't be illegal for my son to play kickball in the yard. It's illegal for him to damage someone else's property while playing.
Do we only prosecute drunk drivers if they cause an accident or a death?
No,
it's a reckless act.
You can't compare the two. No, it's not a reckless act. It isn't.
Sure, wait, hold on. You're saying drunk driving's not a reckless act? Come on, Yankee.
Drunk driving.
We said it's definitely a reckless act. We're saying a warning shot isn't necessarily a reckless act.
I'm not saying that there isn't a 1% time in which a warning shot may work out and be safe if you're out in the desert or whatever.
Where do you get that number that it's a 1% chance?
Yeah, that's a warped.
It's a deadly act.
No, it isn't. No, it
absolutely has the potential to be a deadly act.
I went out as a kid
so
and
can
fired
using an electric nail gun.
I went out and fired my rifle as a child in my backyard 1,000 times. Were those all deadly acts?
Absolutely. They have the potential to be a deadly act.
If you're going to label every time someone fires a firearm as a deadly act, then all you're doing is playing into the anti-gun.
No. You can't say that shooting a gun doesn't have the potential to kill somebody.
Well, so does firing at someone in self-defense.
Of course it does.
So does driving a car.
Self-defense shootings miss more often than they hit their target on the first round. So therefore, do we illegalize firing in self-defense because you might hit someone?
Yeah, but
No,
shooting
but of course not. But we do hold people responsible for every projectile that leaves their firearm. And
shooting. Hold on a second. I think I was on that. Other chat. I think most of us were pro the warning shot. So
no, you weren't. No, you weren't. You were pro the legislation, but you weren't pro the act because all we heard was
Yankee. I myself. You can ask.
Not you, but the other guys.
We're talking about the overall chat.
Yeah, I gave an example of why you might want to do a warning shot, and there were people coming down on me or whatever. So
but you and Chrome Freak were the only two I think that were pro.
Yeah, I think people got common sense and they know how to use it. I have more faith in gun owners that they're not going to go around, and this law does not give you permission to go around just shooting shots all over the place.
Right,
but way to sum it up right there.
Yeah, now, but do we want to have a law that's going to leave it open for interpretation for district attorneys and prosecutors and things like that?
They're going to anyway. They are going to anyway. And let me ask the guys in Florida, because I wasn't sure about this. Is there actually a law that says warning shots are good to go, or did they remove the law against warning shots? Because that's two different things.
This was to help the stand your ground law a little bit, and what it did was it didn't clear this woman. A woman fired a warning shot who was being attacked by a guy. I don't know the story exactly. This lady is about to be sentenced to 20 years in jail because of a stupid minimum mandatory, which I can't stand either. But what it does is it gives somebody an option, and I just don't see it giving permission to shoot shots anywhere you want to shoot shots. But it does give you a safety net. If you do want to fire a warning shot, you can. And I don't see anything wrong with it. I think it's a great law.
You know what's the other problem with laws? It's like stand your ground. I'm pro stand your ground. And then people say, oh, if you could stand your ground, then you could kill anyone. When a situation happens, after the situation when the cops arrive and then take their reports and everything, and then a prosecutor decides they're going to prosecute, that's when all the damn laws come up, you know? So in my personal opinion, you know, it's not to say the laws aren't important, but when you need to save your life, you do whatever you have to do, including if you have to take a warning shot, which is what the woman did, and she shouldn't, you know, have to spend the rest of her life in jail because she didn't want to.
And I'd like to take a second and take exception to what Yankee Marshall had to say at the beginning of this thing and say that chat was the greatest chat in the history of chats. It wasn't the worst.
I was embarrassed by it.
You're out of your mind.
That's why you need to get an opposing opinion on your channel sometimes. Then the one guy that I did notice is the guy in the white hat here that occasionally did stand up and say something in the cause of freedom, and he got talked down by people like PR Chico.
I didn't say nothing for the cause.
Strange. You're talking about.
Who's the guy in the white hat?
That would be me.
Oh, okay.
I didn't support freedom.
I don't know what you're talking about, dude. My whole point on the whole thing.
Apologetic bullshit in that chat. So much bootlicking, apologetic, anti-gun, leftist crap in that chat.
I don't think that came from me.
That whole none of us ever want to have to fire a warning shot. I'll fire a warning shot anytime I think it'll save my life or someone else's life. I would rather that be my first option rather than killing somebody. So I'm
I
not going
agree with you, but I think we had opposing views on there. I think we did have some guys that I did take. I didn't like what they had to say about it. I think most of us on there were pro for this law. I don't know.
I didn't come across very well as saying it if you were for it.
I thought I came across pretty well. I mean,
we all gave individual examples.
Some guys were playing devil's advocate, guys. Some guys were playing devil's advocate.
Well, I think Stone Guy was designing all this
we expect it from Stone Guy. Stone Guy, we know he's anti-freedom, anti-gun. We expect it. He's our token.
He's on whatever side is going to get him ratings in the Tech Daddy.
My whole point was, again, from the time I decided to carry a gun full time, it's been in my mental being that it's only coming out of it is, again, to defend my life or someone that's with me that is going to die. And now you have all of these other circumstances where I was saying, like, again, at the mall, does it make sense for me to pull out a gun and shoot a warning shot if I think that's going to defuse a situation against 6 angry teens that are coming at me?
What if there's a pool in the mall, like one of them fake lakes, and you know you're just shooting into water and then concrete, pennies and stuff?
Because you
I don't understand Yankee. I don't understand what your gripe is. You're mad because we were all floundering back and forth on whether we would or wouldn't, or you're angry because we were saying that it's
floundering back and forth on saying things like you allowed people in there to say things without being shouted down and torn to pieces like they should have been. When they said things like "There's no safe place to fire a gun, no safe direction to fire a gun," or things like, "Well, if you've got time to fire the gun, you've got time to get away." No one should have been allowed to say shit like that without being humiliated.
My goal is to let people give their opinions, not humiliate people. But I hear you.
I'm all for humiliating someone they say something stupid. If you let someone say something hateful or racist or stupid and let it stand on equal terms to other things, then you're giving it credibility. Why would you give that credibility?
No, all opinions expressed on the Tac Daddy live show are those of the people that are giving their fucking thoughts, not mine.
You didn't have an opinion that they were wrong, and you didn't feel the need that you could express the opinion that they were wrong?
I expressed what my opinion was on the law. Everyone else got an even chance to express their opinion on the law. The reason I invited 6 people from Florida is because we're all going to deal with this. That was the discussion. It wasn't right or wrong or left or right.
I think it's because all the people in Florida are trying to hog all the guns.
It was, here's a new law that came into effect on Florida. Let's all discuss it and give our opinion on it. That's what it was. Yeah. Let's all make sure that Yankee Marshall thinks that all of our answers are correct, succinct, and perfect.
Well, let's get away from the fact that
but the very fact you feel so defensive that you got to defend it as an opinion tells me that you know that what I'm saying there's a kernel of truth to it. If
I'm defending the fact that we all gave our opinions on the show. That's it, buddy.
I'm probably the most leftist gun guy on the YouTube, and I found that to be not representative of me. I found that to be so far left and so apologetic that it was offensive.
I'm going to go rewatch it tomorrow, and I'll let you know what I think next time I see you on a chat.
I certainly wasn't apologetic. I mean, I said I'm for it. I don't see people just shooting randomly off anywhere. I just don't see it happening.
All right, well, let's take a different look at this. Let's get past the law, because I think we can all get behind the actual law that's going to protect people from being prosecuted or persecuted for firing off a firearm.
Hold on. And I'm sure the law says an appropriate warning shot and a non-dangerous, an awful warning shot.
You will never know that. You can never know that whenever you shoot that gun, where that's going to go.
If it doesn't cause any damage, then it was an effective warning shot.
Go back to my argument of only prosecute drunk drivers whenever they cause an accident. Because
but here's why they put the law in. If someone has to fire a warning shot, they don't want to automatically go prosecute that person, so they put it in. What's going to happen is that ultimately a prosecutor is going to make a decision, and that prosecutor could say, no, we're not going to prosecute this person for making a warning shot because they were trying to defend their life, by doing that.
No one's going to say a warning shot that caused damage or killed someone else is going to be they're not responsible because of some other situation. Of course, they're still going to be responsible. Antonio in the chat is saying that he's never going to be behind a reckless and possibly dangerous shot up into the air, and I think that everyone would agree. But we don't. Why do we have to jump to that extreme that the warning shot is always going to be a dangerous, reckless, reaction? Why can't it be a well thought out this is going to solve the problem.
We all go
Why
to the
take that tool away from us?
A lot of us go to the gun. There's some of us that go to the gun range every other day, and we fire our guns into berms. Are those reckless and dangerous acts? It could hit a rock and skip over the berm. But we don't.
Those are berms that are designed to take lead. Come on, that's stupid.
We don't label that as reckless, like firing a firearm straight into the ground as a warning shot. The recklessness of that act does not outweigh the safety of the person that's firing that shot, and the recklessness of that act can only be measured by the damage it causes statistically or actually. You means you have to actually see people damaging things from it.
Well, if shooting in
illegal because it can hypothetically cause problems.
Yeah, if shooting into a berm is reckless, then a student driver is also reckless.
And here's the difference between drunk driving. I love that false analogy between drunk driving and firing a warning shot. Drunk driving is a proven act that costs lives every day. It is a proven reckless act. Firing a warning shot is not a proven reckless act.
Wrong.
Wait.
So is that all you want to see is statistics, Yankee? Like, if you have to have
no, but he's requiring statistics in order to regulate freedom of people that aren't doing anything dangerous and haven't done anything that's reckless, and now they're going to be further restricted from having the option of another way out besides lethal force.
Right. Well, that's why I was saying I think we should get away from the law, because I think we can all get behind the law. But let's get away from the law.
We're trying to, but I don't think we all are.
But guys.
Let's get away from the law real quick, and let's just ask this question.
We're not talking about the law, Stone Guy. We're talking about the act. If my son plays marbles on the sidewalk, and someone could trip on those marbles, yes, they could. And if they tripped on those marbles, I would be liably responsible as his parent.
Yeah,
but they should make it illegal to have marbles on a sidewalk and arrest every child that puts a marble on a sidewalk.
If your kid was playing marbles in the middle of a marathon, then that's a reckless act. And I would have
to... a warning shot. How is that playing marbles in the middle of a marathon? Where's your
thing? No. Besides the law, is it prudent to fire a warning shot?
Where's your information that says people firing warning shots in self-defense on their own property or even in public have proven to be a risk to the public safety or the public well-being?
There are countries that put out public service announcements. Are you going to let me talk? Go
ahead.
There are countries that put out public service announcements against celebratory gunfire. And I don't care what the intent is. I don't care. I don't care what your intent is. You're shooting a gun into the air. And it's reckless. Yes, it's reckless.
How do you support that all warning shots are going to be fired up into the air?
And plus, you're comparing hundreds and hundreds of people at a time in mass unison firing guns in random directions to one person firing a warning shot. That is the most illogical, anti-intellectual, and dishonest.
And if you wanted to murder somebody and you wanted to make it look like it was an accident, would you do it any other day of the year, or would you do it on New Year's Eve at a downward angle or something so that it looked like a reckless shot in the air, celebratory gunfire?
The physics of it. The bullet can't kill you falling.
Horse shit.
No, it can't. Look it up.
Man.
Look it up.
Full of shit, dude.
People have been killed from falling bullets.
It's the same fallacy as the penny.
Well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Warning shot. Where does warning shots have to be up in the air? I think a warning shot most of the time into a corner. I think a warning shot's into a phone book.
Okay, but let's be clear on one thing. Warning shots and celebratory fire are two completely different fucking things.
No, they're not.
No, they're completely different fucking things.
I think what Ralph is trying to say is that the bullet coming back down. Sure, but Ralph is saying that it doesn't. Ralph is saying that it doesn't matter. The downward trajectory of the bullet doesn't matter where it came from, if it came from somebody who was drunk or not. A bullet coming down out of the air can be dangerous, and it's irrational to think that it's not dangerous.
Oh, it is.
It doesn't kill somebody, but it's irrational to also think that all warning shots are necessarily going to go up into the air around crowds or whatever. So
yeah, we're not saying that all warning shots are going to kill someone. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of variables.
The only down part is all these celebratory gunfire accidents. So if you're going to use that, then
my whole thing is if you are in fear for your life, there is no reason to fire a warning shot. You should be firing at the threat.
So then is that the only time you're allowed to bring out your firearm? In Arizona, we're allowed to brandish. We're allowed to pull out a firearm and say, I'm armed, if we feel threatened. We don't have to be in fear of our life. We can feel threatened. And we can retaliate to the level of, we can escalate to the level of force. So if somebody is in a parking lot, little old lady or, disabled veteran is trying to get to his vehicle in a parking lot, and 6 or 8 guys come up out of the darkness, he's allowed to bring out his firearm, brandish it, say something to the effect of, "I'm armed," and be well within his rights to have done so. So that's a time when a firearm came out when he wasn't in fear of his life. So now you're saying that that can't happen?
No,
Well,
I don't know. That happens all the time. I mean, I think most places allow for that type of stuff. I'm sure there are some states.
Okay, so now we've gone to the taking out a firearm and telling someone, shouting a verbal warning that we are, we're saying that that's okay. But now if you need to shout that verbal warning louder than you possibly can because you're old or because you're injured or because you've got problems with your lungs, you're not able to yell it out, are you allowed to shoot around into a phone book in your car?
I just don't think it's prudent. I think brandishing and showing, you're comparing apples and oranges there because
I'm trying to suggest that you can warn someone that you have a firearm, and that's what a warning shot does. A warning shot allows that little old lady who can't yell out, "I've got a firearm."
Brandishing would warn someone that you have a firearm, and then you're
brandishing
not
would, right? Brandishing would warn, but you can't warn by shooting off a round. So you're basically saying you can warn up to a point, but once you get to a point where if you can't let that person know you've got a firearm with any other way, you've got to kill that person. We know we're not going to be able to wound.
Brandishing lets them know you have it. Shooting the warning shot lets them know you're serious about the situation.
Well, lets them know you have it. We keep thinking about us with firearms. Quit thinking about white adult males who are in good physical shape. Let's talk about what firearms are for. Little old ladies and people that are of less physical stature. And that means you're not going to necessarily be able to stand up or have the fortitude to just stand up and say, "I've got a firearm." Sometimes, if you want to keep a phone book in your car, or if you've got a dirt berm below you that you're standing next to, and you fire a shot off, that tells a lot of people really fast, a whole gang of people really fast, this guy's not to be messed with. Why do we take that away from that person? We're not going to use warning shots. I hear you.
Well, here's the other part. It says here.
Let me ask you a question.
Let's follow that logic that G-Webs was using there about you can use a gun to defend yourself without firing it up to a point, but then once you fire it, you've used up your jail-free card there. Now you're in trouble. Well, if you want to use the same logic of the fact that you can't fire a warning shot because of what might happen when you fire that warning shot, well, it's not very far for the antis to use that even further and saying, well, once you put the gun in your hand, you've dramatically increased the chance of you firing a shot accidentally because of adrenaline, circumstances, etc. So even putting it in your hand should be just as illegal as actually firing the shot because there's still the same potential statistically of damaging someone as firing the warning shot, because there's almost statistically no evidence of anyone being damaged by warning shots. So therefore, it's the same thing mathematically.
It says
if you follow that logic down the same road, you're on a really dangerous path.
But again, the jump that some people don't want to make on the panel here, and some do, is that a warning shot and celebratory fire are putting lead into the air with a trajectory that comes back down to the earth.
Only some warning shots. Yeah.
It says here.
Like this, yeah.
Oh, let him finish what he's saying.
It says here, a study by the U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention found that 80% of celebratory gunfire-related injuries to the head, feet, and shoulders in Puerto Rico, 2 people die and 25 more are injured every year from celebratory gunfire on New Year's Eve, says the CDC. So bullets that do go up do come down, and they do kill people.
No, and read the study that's based on. What does it say? What is the study based on? Reports of medical reporting from local authorities, not from any study. There was no study done. If you actually look at studies, like the U.S. military has done several.
A study by the Center of Disease Control and Prevention.
Reported information. They did not do a physical scientific study of the actual science.
They found out.
One thing that they're not taking into consideration here. One thing that study is not taking into consideration is that this is not about people just shooting up in the air, because to my knowledge, and there have been studies on this stuff done before, the angle of a bullet that's going to actually kill somebody is not coming from straight up in the fucking air and then coming back down.
Right.
When people fire angled in the air and it makes an arc and comes back down with still a lot of velocity and then hits somebody. There's two different things. Shoot straight up in the air. Straight up in the air and letting that bullet fall back down is going to hurt somebody, but it's not going to kill somebody.
Mythbusters did that.
It's done by the U.S. military on falling ammunition from terminal velocity heights has determined that the only way that a grown adult person would be at severe risk from a falling .45 caliber or heavier bullet from terminal velocity distance, which would be if it hit you in the eye or open throat.
Yeah. Exactly. The
Listen,
people that are dying because people are shooting at a slight angle in the air, and that bullet is arcing with the same velocity, and it's coming and hitting somebody. Those are the people that are dying, not people who are straight up in the air.
Remember the old myth about dropping a penny
A warning
off.
shot is not going to 100%. A warning shot is not going to 100% kill someone. But if you shoot at them directly, that's going to 100% kill them. If you have a reason that you don't want to kill this person immediately because they're a family member or a neighbor, someone that you don't want to, you know, you're like, listen, that's not my first thing. Maybe I want to wake them up and realize that this could get dangerous. That's what it's all about. That's what the warning shot is about.
So
that's why that woman fired into the air.
I'm gonna just throw this out here real quick because Stone Guy was asking the question earlier. As you're talking about, you don't see the need for warning shots. I personally don't think I would ever find myself in a situation where I needed to fire a warning shot. But like G-Web said, we all have experience. Okay, so this isn't necessarily directed at us. But just because you think that you don't see a reason for warning shots, just like I don't see a reason for warning shots for me personally, does that mean that that you don't think that they do any good for some people? Because I do. Not that I personally think they're pointless for me, but I guarantee you there are probably times every year, probably even every day, where a warning shot keeps somebody from getting hurt. It stops a violent crime from happening. I mean, it has to. If you look at how many, violent crimes, or how many times a gun used to stop a violent crime every year, and those people are not getting shot, a lot of times it's because somebody's pointing a gun at somebody's face, or they're firing off a warning shot, because these criminals are not getting reported as getting shot all the time. So warning shots obviously are doing some good for some people.
And the other part of the law here in Florida is brandishing. If you that's just like part of this thing. The other part of it is brandishing as well. So.
Well, the law side of it, I mean, that's a whole different area. Because I don't think the law side of it makes any sense, because I don't think anybody with half a brain can sit there and argue that, well, even if there is a chance somebody could get hurt, that they should make a law against it. That's stupid.
Well, there's a woman about to spend 20 years in prison.
Brandishing is brandishing is illegal. Presenting your weapon to a threat is not illegal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brandishing requires two legal things. It requires that you be the aggressor, and it requires that you not be responding to a credible threat. So therefore, if you draw your weapon to discourage an attacker, or a rapist, a mugger, or whatever, that's not brandishing. Brandishing is a specific legal term for aggressively displaying your weapon to intimidate or threaten. That is not the same thing. Defense is not to intimidate or threaten as the aggressor.
Well, I think that's the new definition or the new law in Florida, was that now, and correct me if I'm wrong, that brandishing is allowed in a different capacity of what you just described.
To escalate a situation, because in Florida there's laws that say there's brandishing laws in a lot of places, so Florida has brandishing laws. But if you need to brandish to de-escalate something, then.
But that's a different. You're confusing you're confusing Webster's definition of brandishing versus the law's definition of brandishing. The law's definition of brandishing is exactly what Yankee said. You have to do it in a threatening and intimidating manner as the aggressor, not because you feel threatened in any way. That's different from Webster's dictionary's version of brandishing. Okay, these are two different things.
You always have to look up the legal term for something when you want to deal with the law, but. The reason they wrote that law like that, because brandishing is already legal. They wrote that law specifically that way to try to prevent these overzealous prosecutors who want to misuse the law and charge people with brandishing when they're not brandishing by the legal definition of the word. If someone comes at me with a tire iron in their hand and I pull my gun and say, you might want to rethink that, and they run away, well, a lot of people say, well, you can get arrested for brandishing. No, that's legally not brandishing. If a prosecutor charges you with brandishing on that, they are violating the law.
Yeah, that's just responding to a threat, a credible threat.
So what's the new definition or declaration that Florida just passed with brandishing?
I don't know. I haven't read their legal definition of it in there. But the legal definition of brandishing in all 50 states requires you be the aggressor.
Yeah, here's the root of the thing. There's a woman that's going to face 20 years in prison because she fired a warning shot. So to say that there's no scenarios, that woman was in a scenario for whatever reason, and she didn't want to kill that person. So she fired a warning shot, and she's going to face 20 years.
She was chasing that dude out of the house.
Yeah.
I think he was leaving, actually. I mean, I don't know the whole situation, but it wasn't a spur of the moment scenario, and I don't agree with the punishment either. But at the same time, if she felt her life was in danger, I think she should have shot him. It's just that simple.
Well, and I know someone said something earlier about my guns only will come out if I'm threatened, if my life is threatened, if I'm going to die. I think you have the right to use your firearm to stop yourself from receiving a serious beating too. You shouldn't have to be crippled or maimed or anything like that, or lose sight in an eye, or lose your teeth just because someone else chooses to do so, and you feel that you don't have to be
justified in most states for that.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with that, but the law says something different. You pull that gun out, it better be for self-defense. It better be you're in fear of your life.
No,
well, you don't have to be in fear of your life in Arizona. You can be in fear of a beating that's gonna, if you get a broken arm or if you're going to lose an eye, that's enough for lethal force in Arizona.
Now, wait, because to my knowledge, there are only a few places where they say you have to be, where the law states you have to be in fear for your life. You have to be in fear that you are about to receive serious bodily harm.
Serious bodily harm.
That could possibly lead to death. Right. It doesn't say that you have to know you're going to die to pull your gun.
I misspoke there. You're absolutely right. Well, what I'm saying is you're not going to just pull a gun out because you think the guy's going to pick on you or whatever the deal is. You know what I'm saying?
Well, no, but if somebody's coming at you with a tire iron, that's not just a typical fist fight. That's a you could get your head cracked open or break some bones and stuff.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody argued against that.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a level.
Like some people believe in a fair fight. Any fight that I'm having is not going to be a fair fight. I'm just going to tell you right now. I'm not going to put myself at risk and not being able to raise my children, take care of my family because someone says you're a coward because you don't want to have a fair fight. Fuck that. That's my opinion.
And I'm not going to start a fight. So if someone starts a fight with me, it's against my will. I'm in this as an unwilling participant.
If I get into a fight, I'm not having a fair fight. So, the Cowboys didn't even have that fair fight bullshit, high noon, whatever. They didn't even do that. So, if you guys seriously believe in that, I'm not saying the guys here. I know there's some people that are making comments and stuff talking about fair fights. That's bullshit.
Well, let's be honest. The only fair fight is one that takes place in a boxing ring or a MMA, octagon. Okay, those are fair fights that are refereed shit. There is no other fight that you are ever going to get in your entire life that is going to be fair because you do not know the intentions of the other person. It is not regulated. It is not sanctioned. It is not some I'm doing this for money or that kind of bullshit. Every fight is unfair one side or the other depending on the situation. So you never know when somebody's going to get pissed off because you popped them in the jaw and they're going to pull out a knife or a gun or grab a fucking bar stool or whatever, and all of a sudden it's no longer a fair fight, whatever fair means.
You also don't know the ability of the person you're going up against. You want to wait until they're stabbing you up before you do something about it?
You found out they're an MMA fighter that is going to kill you because they just mistook you for the guy that was sleeping with their girlfriend and it ain't you.
There are 100 reasons why the term fair fight is just ridiculous. So, but no.
Every fair fight person should just get out of the gun game. Just practice your boxing skills, because when you're 70 years old, you'll still be a badass boxer.
Well, now let's change pace a little bit here, because I think I want to address something that Swell brought up in the last chat, which I thought was perfect. What do we feel about the fact that with having this new law just in Florida, that it gives another angle? Swell, I don't want to paraphrase. What were you talking about when you said giving the lawyers, attorneys another angle for
when you use your firearm in self-defense, someone ends up dead or seriously injured, you go to court because something happened. The Zimmerman thing, you end up in court. In the state of Florida now, you have the option to display your firearm, shoot a warning shot, and you're not going to be prosecuted for that or charged for that. Now, the prosecutors in this murder trial are not going to try and use that against you. Well, why didn't you fire a warning shot? Why didn't you just show them your gun and then they would have stopped attacking you? Why didn't you use that option instead of deadly force? That stuff any and every time something like this is introduced, there's always that possibility of it happening or them using that against you in a court of law. But that's with everything. I just wanted to put that out there so you guys could discuss it and, you know, just think about it.
I agree with him and his beard. I like that.
I say don't think. I like that beard. If you've got to take action, don't stop to think about the laws, man. You know, I mean, before that, you could think about it all you want to but honestly, when you have to save your life, come home. You know, get home alive. Worry about the law shit later because you'll be alive. That's what I said in the other chat. If someone kills you and you're dead, there is no law that they're going to bring you back to life. So that's, you know, if you spend a whole bunch of time worrying about all the laws out there and the law says this and the law says that, and if I do this, I'm definitely going to get sued, then, you know, you're just screwed anyway. Because there's a lot of laws.
And here's the thing, let's not all forget, I love we talk about fair fight stuff and, you know, you should be a man. Not everybody is equally capable. There's people in here that have met me and they know that I'm someone that I can handle myself if I chose to get into a fight with somebody. But not everyone has that option. I mean, what if you're someone that can't fight, or you have a physical ailment that says, hey, if you ever got punched in the face really hard, you could die from it. Or, you know, or you're just a little old lady that can't stand up and defend herself or proclaim loudly enough for some guy to go away. You know, you don't make the act itself illegal based on the hypothesis that it could possibly, maybe someday, be a problem if someone did it irresponsibly. Well, then if they do something irresponsibly, there's probably already a law against that. You don't need to start going and making it illegal to play marbles on the sidewalk. You just make it illegal for someone to fall because you didn't clean up your marbles. You know, it's just, that's the mindset. If we go through and we keep allowing things to be illegalized based on the potential to maybe someday cause a problem if it's abused, then we'll never have any rights or freedoms.
We have too many damn laws.
Agreed.
You know, we need to make laws about laws.
Especially, I know Stone Guy wants to get rid of those pesky laws in Georgia about marrying your first cousin, don't you? I mean,
too late for that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there were some opinions in the chat I didn't agree with either. I just, you know, it was an organized chat, an orderly chat. We didn't talk over each other, but I thought I represented well, and I agree with just about everything you guys are saying. I could see scenarios for warning shots. I am a guy who is disabled. I can't run. I got a bad leg. I cannot run away from any situation. I ain't fighting anybody. That's for damn sure. So, I mean, I can see where you can definitely use a warning shot.
Well, not to completely interrupt you and throw you off, but what is the fun in an organized chat where people don't talk over each other?
His show. The way Pat Gaddy runs his show. I mean, it's, you know, it's not my show. It's his show.
But getting back to that, like you're saying, let's say you're in that parking lot or in that alley or whatever, and being somebody who's got a head on his shoulders, you know, you're able to see where a warning shot could go into some asphalt and not cause a lot of trouble, or like I say, into your own vehicle. You're willing to take the financial blow from it, you know, literally when you have to fix everything. But if you, you know, fire that warning shot and that brings people running and that brings the attention of the neighborhood that might not see, you know, a fairly silent stabbing in a parking lot, what is wrong with that? I think that should definitely be on the in the toolbox for people.
Well, I think if someone's, well, there again, I mean, you could argue so many variables.
What if you preload 3 blanks into your map?
stage your warning shots.
Exactly.
I mean, obviously there's
one
so
full
many
metal
variables.
jacket, then a hollow point, then a blank, because you figure what's going to happen is you're going to have to shoot through the windshield, then into potentially a bad guy, then a warning shot to the passenger.
And to play devil's advocate, let's ask a question from a devil's advocate standpoint that can be turned back down to the warning shot thing. Say you're in a parking lot, someone comes at you, they've got a blackjack, tire iron, or whatever in their hand, and they say, give me your wallet and we'll cave your skull in. You pull your weapon out, you fire upon them, you either miss them or it goes through the fat of their arm, and you strike a parking lot attendant behind them and you kill that parking lot attendant. Now, who is ultimately responsible for that death and that confrontation? Was
the person who fired the shot?
Or was it the person that came at you with the tire iron causing you to fire that shot?
The person that fired the shot is still responsible for their own bullet going through that bad guy. Definitely. You're going to be taken to at least civil court, if not criminal and civil, for that shot.
You're going to be held responsible for that bullet, period.
Yeah, you know what's one of the problems, I think, guys, in the gun world? There's a lot of bravado, right? So there's a lot of badassery that people have, and You know, I used to work in a home for people that had mental problems, and I could tell you, if you're dealing with someone, I've seen it. If you're dealing with someone that has mental problems, you can hit them with tasers, pepper spray, all kinds of stuff. You know, it may not do anything. You know, so.
Oh yeah, there's nothing more shocking than when you fucking tase someone and they don't react. It's like, holy shit. I mean, when you know you've got a good hit on them and they don't react, that's pretty scary.
Right. Now, at the same time, people can easily, someone who you care about can easily flip out on you. Okay? We've got all kinds of things in society now that's making people lose it. But you might care about that person. What do you do if this is someone that's losing it, you know, or maybe it's someone you care about and they're beating the crap out of their wife, you know, or maybe it's a dog that's you know, he's on top of a kid and he's biting down on that kid. Maybe you want to try making a scary sound to get that dog's attention. There's a lot of scenarios in life, you know, and this particular law just allows for that scenario, but ultimately someone's going to come in there and make a decision when everything goes bad.
Well, that's why I said I think we could all get behind the law. I don't think there's a question of the law, you know, that it's a good law, but the fact remains, the ultimate question is, are warning shots necessary? Are they viable options, or are they just going to give people?
They are a viable option for some people in some situations. I mean, I think that's just common sense. That's obviously people are using warning shots to stop crimes.
Regardless of whether I believe in the act of a warning shot, whether it is an intelligent act or a justifiable act, period, that's not the point to me. The point to me is that something like that is not proven to be of any danger to anyone, of any statistical risk to anyone, but could help someone, and to remove it is a violation of someone's freedom, and it isn't justified to do so. I won't support it illegal just because of what might happen. I won't remove.
Well, just to throw it back at you, then, I mean, do you have any statistics on warning shots stopping people? I mean, you say there's no statistics on warning shots hurting people. Do you have?
You don't have to prove that something is a positive for it to be legal. You have to prove that it's a negative for it to be illegal.
This isn't a country where we're given laws, or the laws exist and we get to take them away if we prove that there's a positive. They have to prove why they're going to restrict us, why they're going to take away our freedom.
You can only have rights that you prove are beneficial, Then
why should you be able to have red convertibles? That doesn't help the world at all.
I'll just say, I mean, we can, you ask what kind of proof there is that people are actually using warning shots to do anything. I mean, if you look at the what do we got? Anywhere from 200,000 to 700,000 times a year, people they estimate people stop crimes with guns. Now, even if just 1% of 200,000 on the low end, even if just 1% of 200,000 people fired a warning shot.
Nope, that won't work. That won't work, dude. Because number one, the warning shots are illegal in most countries. Or in most states. That's why we're paying attention to this Florida change. So warning shots are already illegal, which means that in those cases you're about to cite, or you wanted to cite right there, even if it was 1% where somebody decided to shoot a warning shot, guess what those 1% of people are doing? They're going to jail for shooting a firearm, probably.
But that's what I'm saying. I mean, this is estimated report, so it doesn't.
Now let's look at another situation. Let's look at how many of the numbers of gun crimes that are used against us are actually good people trying to fire a warning shot because of whatever reason they decided to fire a warning shot.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Even if you take those cases and it's just 1% of 200,000, I mean, that's a lot of people every year that are stopping crimes by firing a warning shot.
Well, 1% of 200,000 would be 2,000, right?
Yeah, I mean that's a lot.
And that would be 2,000 people that, unless they're in Florida, they just got convicted of firing a gun.
They committed a crime. Exactly, and those are estimated reports. And most people, when they weren't even a part of the polls and the studies on this stuff. I'm sure we all agree there are far more people than that every year who defend themselves with firearms. They just didn't want to come out and say they do because they don't call the cops. They go unreported. And there's probably far more people than that actually fire warning shots that are never going to report it because they don't want to have the cops come out and they don't want to get hassled and they don't want to have to worry about firing off discharging a weapon inside of city limits or whatever it is or whatever the punishment is and worry about going to jail or getting fined and all this stuff. So, I mean, common sense tells you this is happening probably somewhere in this country every day, and it's being used in a positive way to help certain people stop crimes. So I don't see how there's any way it can be a bad thing.
My grandfather had a lot of property in West Virginia in the middle of McClintock Game Reserve. We still have it in our family, and he fired many a gut warning shot to stop many a poacher. That many a poacher abandoned their rifles and their bows and.
Are we going to go to property damage or property theft or whatever? Because there's an instance for your warning shot.
Yeah, I think it's a fair question for the whole panel. It's just.
Well, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this.
No, hold on.
Warning shot.
I was about to say something.
Okay.
What about a warning shot makes it a threat to use force? Because that's what the law that we're discussing here authorizes.
Do you mean a threat to the public or a threat to the person who's
no. Basically, what this law says is you are allowed to make the threat of deadly force.
Because a lot of human beings, when they hear a loud bang, if they are mad or something or angry for whatever reason, they hear a loud bang, they change their mind. So, like, what if you're in a situation with a group of people? You know, you're not going to shoot everyone, but if you make a loud noise or people realize, wait a second, I could potentially get shot here, that loud noise might make most of those people back off.
All right. Now, Hank, You're threatening me right now. You're on my screen. You're threatening me right now. And I pull out my firearm, and I shoot it near your head, and it hits that Hank Strange sign right behind you. I didn't kill you, but what separates that? What makes that a warning shot as opposed to me just missing?
It opens up for some reality for me to make me go, oh, shit.
No. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about when it's presented.
The act of firing, yeah.
What makes my shot that hit the sign, the Hank Strange signs behind you, right next to your head, what makes that a warning shot as opposed to me missing?
I think it's your intent. If you intended to miss them and you did, then that's a warning shot.
I will agree with him here because he has to prove that intent at that point. If somebody comes up to him and says, that bullet went 2 inches to the side of my head, all somebody has to do is say, he was trying to kill me, and he just missed. So he has to, at that point, prove he was just trying to fire a warning shot. Now, that doesn't matter in the end if the person was trying to do him harm. In the end, it doesn't matter. It just means he had the right to shoot somebody.
Yeah, and he chose not to first.
So, I mean, you know, it depends on because I mean, there are literally cases where people break into houses and they get shot or they get stabbed breaking into a house, and then they end up suing the people who, you know. So, I mean, it is something you have to be aware of.
Well, what's the effectiveness then? What's the effectiveness? I don't believe in this, by the way, but what's the effectiveness of keeping your shotgun unloaded and then racking it? What's the effectiveness of that, right?
Well, the concept is that you're going to alert the bad guy that you're armed. That's the concept.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, I mean, it could be effective to someone. They're like, oh, shit, maybe they do hear that sound and they go, oh, shit, this person has a shot.
I mean, exactly. What if you're getting robbed by a 14-year-old? And then, you know, it's not always going to be the guy who's gone through, you know, 2 or 3 terms in prison and he's a, you know, expert at this. It could be a 14-year-old.
In fact, most of the time it is somebody that is just some kid or something like that who hasn't spent a bunch of time in jail.
People that are open carry advocates love to talk about the deterrent factor of an open carry firearm. What's more deterrent than a warning shot?
Well, real quick, I want to get back to the whole property thing. You know, using a gun to protect property, because like
right on.
That brought up an interesting point for me because in Texas, technically, depending on the situation. And it's all you know, it all depends what exactly happened, and you got to go before the judge and all that. But technically in Texas, you can kill somebody for property crimes. You can shoot somebody on your property if they're trying to steal something.
In Texas, you can use lethal force to protect your property.
Yes, exactly. Now, now personally, just, you know, me, I don't think somebody trying to steal my DVD player is worth shooting them over. You know. So if I decided in that particular situation to
that's ridiculous.
Shoot a warning shot, I think that is a little more fair for the crime being committed if they're not trying to hurt me and they're just trying to, you know, steal my TV or something.
If somebody's walking away from your house with $10,000 worth of your property that you've got to now go and work for again and all that kind of stuff, That's something that you may have to think about. No, I don't know whether or not I would want to kill them over it, but
yeah. And then that's the question: is that a situation?
You're looking at it from the wrong angle. Well, if you're talking about warning shots, I'll agree with you about the guy leaving your property with the VCR. But the fact that you're free to defend your life, or excuse me, defend your property with lethal force has to do with when someone is entering your home.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You don't have to be a psychologist and a mind reader to know that they're there to kill you, rape you, or steal your VCR. So if you have a state where you're free to use lethal force for property, it means that there's less often going to be the guy walking into your house to grab a VCR because he knows that you have the ability to use lethal force. If you want to turn it around and look at it from the anti-freedom, anti-gun side, they're always going to talk about the guy who's 2 steps off your lawn with a VCR tape. And they're going to use that situation to show that we are savages who are bloodthirsty and we're looking for excuses to kill people, which is obviously not the case. What we want to do is not have to worry about the person breaking into our home and know what their intent is, and know that we have the ability to use lethal force so that we don't have to think about all this warning shot shit. Now, if we're talking about warning shots in property, now I'll go with you to the guy leaving your home. Now he's leaving your property with your property. Now, are you going to encourage a society where that's okay? It's cash and carry, and they're kind of given a pass because it's only property? Or do you shoot a couple of rounds into your tree that you know can handle a couple of rounds, let the guy drop your VCR, and then put your VCR back in your house, and hopefully give that guy the shit pants and talk about it to his friends that it's not worth stealing shit in Texas?
Absolutely.
Here's the other slope to get I will. If it's illegal to defend your property, okay, say someone breaks into my yard, and let's say I have a lawn care business. I mow lawns for a living, and I see them wheeling my riding mower off my property, and I run out there. Well, if I'm forbidden to use force to protect my property, well, then I'm in a way forbidden to even interfere at all. Because if I go out there and say, hey, get the fuck off my lawnmower, I'm going to kick your ass, and then they pull a knife on me and I shoot them, some prosecutor is going to say, you used lethal force to defend property because you confronted them over property. So I'm even limited now that I can't even go out and just kick somebody's ass off stealing from me because I'm going to go to jail because of this whole, well, you used lethal force. Well, they're not going to, prosecutor's not going to care that it was an escalation of force not brought on by me. The end result's going to be I used my handgun to defend my riding mower.
Yeah. In the end, all these laws aren't going to really affect the situation. The situations are going to go down however they're going to go down, and then prosecutors are either going to choose to do something or not do something. One of the things I like about Florida is that Florida says, like, if I'm in Gainesville and they're real liberal and I defend myself but they don't like gun people and they try to come after me, no, they can't do that. You know, that's the thing. But that's all afterwards. That's all after action. In the end, when something goes down, for whatever reason it goes down, especially if it's just you and another person, you know, you just have to deal with that later, right? That's just what it is. We can argue about the laws all we want to.
Hey guys, I gotta run. Y'all have a good night. Take care.
All right, buddy. We'll see you next time. Thanks for coming on. Oh yeah, brother. Appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, good talking.
Take care, guys.
Yeah. Come on back anytime. We run these a little different. So I think I just sent an invite to the guy from Florida. Is he all 9 yards on gun channels?
What guy from Florida?
Yes. The guy who's in the Florida...
FloridaCarry.org.
Florida Carry.
Okay, shit. I told him to PM me.
9 yards. I'll give him one.
Okay. Yeah, I just sent him.
Thought you did already.
Well, I told him to PM me, and I never got a PM. So, and I was looking for his name, but I didn't realize he was all 9 yards. So if he's still out there, maybe he'll jump in. You got a link in Gun Channel's chat.
Hey, Tech, you should do a all Florida chat like that, like once a month or something.
Yeah, right.
Seriously, because you still got other people down there still, but you can fill a room with just Florida people, easy.
There's plenty.
We all just ask unanimously to leave Georgia people out of there.
Yes, that was offensive that there was a Georgian in there.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna, acknowledge that, but.
Why did you? You all should hear the shit he talks about Florida too. Whenever he gets a chance, he should talk.
The fact that he knows that that he can do anything to irritate Yankee, he'll probably just keep doing it. So don't worry about that.
Well, hell, after all these common sense laws that Florida's passing here, it makes me want to move to Florida. But it's too many old people and it's too fucking hot.
Because let's just face it, if you do something really wrong, like you kill someone in cold blood without good cause, a district attorney's got plenty of things to come after you with. They don't need these other bullshit, you can't do this, you can't do that laws, that they can come after people who didn't kill somebody in cold blood, who did defend themselves. They don't need that. Any legitimate district attorney doesn't need all these bullshit anti-freedom laws. You can clearly go out and do something wrong.
And even though we're against the concept of restricting freedom, I don't think anybody's. I mean, I am pro warning shot, and I'll be the first to say, yeah, for all the reasons I mentioned, we've said you should be able to fire a warning shot. I don't think it should be completely verboten. But on the other hand, I'm going to be the first to suggest you don't want to fire a warning shot unless you really, really have to, because of all the reasons Stone Guy was saying that can be used against you in court. But just, also, yeah, there's not always a great place to do it, but heck, if you're the kind of person that thinks of yourself as, prepared, got a good head on your shoulders, people say, like, you go into a restaurant, you always sit with your back to so your face in the door, with your back to a wall. And, yeah, a lot of guys do that. But then you should also be thinking about where you could fire a warning shot if you had to. Like, we're talking about, the single mom or whatever having to defend herself. But let's think about the riots or the flood or whatever, and guy up on his roof with an AK. A couple of warning shots into their own chimney or something will let people know, hey, this store is protected. Somebody who's in one of these malls or something, and even though that's ridiculously low odds that'll ever happen to anyone, but if you are in a situation like that, we always talk about, we're going to have to go somehow, take shots at the active shooter. Well, that's bullshit. We already know how that can be to your detriment with this last time, right? With this guy who had good intentions and got hurt, got killed. But what if you were more apt to what's going on? You saw a big planter in the middle of the mall and you took a couple of shots into that thing subtly. That could clear the place out. If you see somebody walking around with an AR acting suspicious and a couple of warning shots into a planter, I'm not suggesting people do that, but I'm just, trying to think of outside the box reasons why a warning shot shouldn't send you to jail.
And what if the guy with the AK that was getting ready to come in and start shooting up people, you fire a warning shot into a planter, he hears that, assumes it's police, and he runs off and offs himself because he's like, up, jigs up.
Yeah, I'm not encouraging it. I'm just trying to think of times when I shoot a warning shot that, isn't just in return fire or something. Well, pretty much as long as Yankee and I are the last two ones in here, we win, right? So you guys just keep leaving.
Oh, there we go.
I can think of times when you shouldn't shoot a warning shot.
The very fact that we are on the opposite side.
I know. I can definitely agree. There's going to be probably 100 to 1 times when you wouldn't want to shoot a warning shot compared to when you would. But I'm just saying there's no law restricting you.
Hold on, we got the guy in here that probably fought for this law. In Florida, so I want to introduce all 9 yards. Sean from Florida. What's the corp?
From Florida Carry.
FloridaWarningShots.org, right?
Yeah. Didn't just fight for the law. I came up with the concepts and I wrote the initial drafts and many of the amendments.
All right. So what are the prerequisites for the warning shot, if any? Give us a breakdown.
What this does is it creates 2 separate doctrines in Florida law. You have the use of force and the threat of force. You can use a threat of force in places where you can't actually use lethal force. Now, a lot's been said about warning shots. There was one point where the bill contained the term warning shot. It was removed very quickly. I never wanted it in there. It was put in because of the Marissa Alexander situation. It probably never should have been put in there, and it's not part of the bill. And in fact, when you look at the standard canons of statutory construction, when the legislature puts something in a bill and then takes it back out, it means that it's probably not generally allowed.
Wait, so you're saying we've been arguing for 2 hours over something that doesn't exist?
I'm not going to say that it doesn't exist. You have an arguable case that a warning shot was merely the threat of force, not the use of any form of force. It was to say that stop whatever illegal act you're doing, or I will use force. But a warning shot in Florida is probably going to fall under, and we have to see what the courts do with it, but it's probably going to fall under a threat of force, which is a lesser criteria. So if someone, say, in Florida, and this is one of the people I had in mind when I wrote the initial drafts of this, and we started writing this back in 2011, before Marissa Alexander ever came into the news. There was a guy who was prosecuted down in South Florida, down in Miami-Dade. He was in a grocery store, and he's pretty much minding his own business, and a guy comes up and punches him in the face. Well, the victim here backs up, and he gets punched in the face again, and he backs up again, and he gets punched in the face again. And then, after the third time being punched in the face, he pulls out his gun and says, "Stop." Well, the attacker ran away. The police came, and they arrested them both. The attacker was charged with simple battery, a misdemeanor, and the victim was charged with the felony of aggravated assault, was charged with not just the aggravated assault of him, but the aggravated assault of everyone who was in the area, was facing a 3-year minimum mandatory sentence for each person that saw the gun. And they used that as a weapon to go after this guy and say, okay, well, we have 3-year sentences for each one of these, and they're compounding sentences, so you're going to be in jail for 15 years. So just plea out, we're going to be nice to you and give you a year probation, and oh, by the way, you can never have a gun again. So we got a year probation, because what are you going to do, take a year probation or face a 15-year minimum mandatory sentence because you pulled a gun on a guy that was punching you in the face? That's why I wrote this bill.
Let me see if I can say something and you tell me if it's right or it's wrong. And I would, when you say there's different levels of different criteria of proof or justifiably you doing something by the law, so the way you stated that, if I fire at someone and I kill them, in court the jury is going to have to say, yes, we agree that you were in imminent danger. That situation existed. If I fire a warning shot, then all the jury has to say is, yes, we can see where you would feel like you were in danger, but you didn't actually use.
Even if you kill someone in self-defense, the test is, did you have a reasonable fear that they were about to do great bodily harm, death, or commit a forcible felony?
But it wouldn't be as stringent a litmus test for a warning shot. They could just say, yeah, we could see where you felt that way. They don't have to believe that it was reasonable. They would just have to believe that yes, you did feel threatened.
Actually, the criteria is the same for a threat of force.
Then it's not a different weight of law. So then there's not a different weight of law for not use of the threat of use of force and the actual use of force then.
Well, the same criteria applies. It's just the level of force that you use. So, I can, for example, I can use force to recover stolen property. Someone breaks into my house when I'm not home, and I see them running away with my VCR, somebody mentioned. I can use force to get my property back. Now, I cannot use, if I were in the house when they broke in, I could use lethal force to defend my home because I have a presumption that they're there to do great bodily harm to me. But if someone's running away after committing the crime, I can't use lethal force, but I can't use force to get back my property. Now, can I fire a warning shot at that guy running away? That's possible. I can threaten force against this person. Now, could I actually shoot him? Hell no.
Maybe I didn't ask my question correctly, but here's this scenario. I'm saying that in a court of law, would you require the same level of proof to escape prosecution from firing a warning shot as you would if you actually shot someone?
No, absolutely not. Completely.
So therefore, then in a court of law, if I shot them,
levels of force.
If I shot them, the court is going to have to say, yes, you were in danger. They're going to have to agree with me that I was in danger to find me innocent. Whereas if I just fire a warning shot, which is just the threat of force, the only level of agreement they're going to have with me is, yes, we can see where you believed you were in danger.
Well, no. In both cases, say someone points a BB gun at you.
Mm-hmm.
Now this looks just like a real gun. They point an airsoft at you. Can I shoot the person? Absolutely, because I have, unless I know that this is an airsoft gun, because I have a reasonable fear for my life when somebody takes out and points an airsoft gun at me. So it's not that I was definitely in danger. It's that an objective person would look at the scenario and under the totality of the circumstance say that, yes, you had a reasonable fear of great bodily harm, death, or the commission of a forcible felony, and there's some specific definitions of forcible felony, things like rape and terrorism.
I'm not following your thing here, because it sounds to me like you keep saying that it is the same legal weight of proof, that I would have to prove the same case to defend myself from actually shooting someone as I would from firing a warning shot.
In many cases, yes. In many cases, it is the same exact analysis, with the exception of, could I potentially fire a warning shot at an escaping felon?
But if someone, let's just say someone kicks in my front door, I fire a warning shot into my ceiling, and they run away, am I now facing the same prosecution as if I shot them?
No.
Well, then there's a different level of proof. There's a different level of justifiable.
Well, you're under that scenario in Florida, if somebody kicks in your door, there is a presumption that they're there to do you harm. Somebody kicks in your front door, unload the magazine right into their face, or fire a warning shot, or sick your dog on them. That's all perfectly legal. What gets hairier is when you get into situations where the use of lethal force isn't applicable. The use of force is allowed.
Well, let me ask it this way then. Let's say I'm a beautiful 23-year-old black lady. That's fantasy. So let's pretend.
Fridays, only on Friday nights.
I've got a boyfriend who's got a history of being violent. Let's say his name is Stone Guy.
Oh, what the fuck!
And
a little too close to home, Stone Guy.
He gets real violent. He gets real upset with me one night, starts breaking stuff. I fire a warning shot into my ceiling, and he runs away, and the cops come. Would I be in the same legal boat as if I had fired a shot into his chest, and then he ran out the door and died?
No, that's going to be a little bit different, because it goes to the level of force. Okay, but was this person? Did you have an abiding fear that this person was going to do you great bodily harm? So if the answer to that is no, you're in fear of an ass kicking, not in fear of being put in the hospital. They weren't going to break bones.
Well, with you being in the industry, and I say industry meaning, following the laws and legislation in your area in association with the concealed carry, did you follow the case of this lady that's facing 20-year jail time? I mean, do you know the ins and outs? I mean, because the scenario that Yankee just gave.
Marissa Alexander. I'm following a lot of cases right now. Talking about Marissa Alexander, actually, the prosecutor's come back and is trying to get her for 60 years now. 20 years for the estranged husband, and 20 additional years for each of the two children.
And that sounded like a case that sounded very similar to the scenario Yankee just proposed. Was, violent boyfriend, whatever, fired a warning shot.
What we put into the law for that is completely separate. It has nothing to do with the warning shot. What it says is that a judge, even if they find someone guilty, if they also find that someone acted in a good faith self-defense, but it's a legal doctrine called imperfect self-defense. The person thought that they were in danger, acted, but a court later decides that, well, that thought wasn't necessarily reasonable. So this is an imperfect self-defense. They shouldn't have done this, but the but the level of force used, they didn't actually harm anyone, and they did it in good faith. And that the judge can depart and not use the minimum mandatory sentencing structure.
Well, then
that's the part of the law that may be able to because of the legislative intent that was in the bill, that may be retroactively applicable to the Marcel Alexander case. And the judge has stayed their case, waiting to see when the governor was going to sign it. He's since signed the bill, so it's become law. And the judge is going to be ruling whether or not that portion, at least at some point, he's going to be ruling whether or not that portion is going to be applicable, retroactively applicable to that case, because it wasn't a change in law. It was a change in the legislative or change in the legislative guidance to the court. So we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah. You know what, man? I think as a Floridian here, I've seen you put in a lot of work on a lot of different things. So I just want to say thanks. And if you ever need any publicity, you should reach out to me. I'll do whatever I can do. Cause
you know, the biggest problem we have at Florida Carry is, look, you walk into a shopping mall and you say, do you know who the NRA is? And, 99 people out of 100 raise their hand and say yes. You walk into a shopping mall in Florida and well, we've passed a ton of bills and won a ton of lawsuits over the past 4 years, and that's really all the time that we've even been in existence. But you ask the same 100 people, and I would be happy if 20 of them knew who we were. I think it's probably more like 5.
Yeah, well, we should do something about that, man. We should change that somehow, because I think you're doing good work. So.
Well, it's certainly something that we're planning on getting into, getting out to the gun shows here more and really putting more boots on the ground. We've been doing a lot on social media, and that's really where we came from, was the forum sites and social media. We've had a few videos go viral and stuff like that. I'm going to be doing a lot more YouTube content, between the Tac Daddy there and some other people, I'm going to be picking some brains on getting our channel up and running and getting it going right. So definitely can use some guidance from you guys who have been around the block.
It's pretty simple. Just got a little kitten, put it in a shark suit, put it on a Roomba, but get it to meow to meow Florida Carry instead of meow.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's the thing. We need the Florida Carry.
Or find a fat elderly woman and make her panties fall around her ankles and shove her down some stairs. That'll get you some.
Or find Yankee Marshall when he's dressing up like a black chick to go out on a date with Stone Guy.
I don't film that.
Hey, yeah, we were supposed to keep that secret.
I did not film that.
You should. That would be awesome. I'd actually watch that.
We're actually, I think we're going to fly Yankee down here so he can stand in front of our legislature in his panties and short shorts.
Fly me down to Florida, I'll do it. I do lots of things for a plane ticket.
Trust me, I know.
I'll be right back. My dog's about to tear down my back door.
I just got nervous about what I'd be willing to do for a plane ticket and had to run away.
But it sounds like what you were asking, though, is do you need to show you were in fear of your life in order to shoot a warning shot, right?
Yeah, that's
because then it is going to be, you have to, I would think there needed some level of determination at what level of, at what point does it escalate to where you get, now that the line is drawn, you fire a warning shot.
Yeah, you don't necessarily have to be all the way to a full fear of your life to fire a warning shot, but you do have to be at a point where you can use some form of force. Even if that force being laying your hands on someone and stopping them from committing some kind of unlawful attack.
Excellent. Okay, so there is a point that can be taught.
To stop a unlawful act of violence.
Perfect, because that's what I was saying. As long as there's a line that can be taught, then you can go, look, at this point you no longer, now you can take the gloves off, and if you don't want to lay hands, you can fire the warning shot as an equal level of force in return.
Well, there you go. Well, I think that's a pretty good.
Did a pretty good job of solving it tonight.
Yeah, good point to end this. I've got to get to bed.
You guys did a good job of covering the law tonight. I think you guys owe it to yourselves to have another chat dedicated specifically to whether or not you would fire warning shots personally and discuss that and debate that a little bit more directly.
Yeah, that's a
great idea. Hopefully, you guys will join us in more chats. I'd love to get some new blood in here. You guys are obviously got good heads on your shoulders for this stuff.
Yeah,
definitely.
As long as Yankee doesn't yell anymore, he was scaring me.
Who?
Yankee. I came into Yankee yelling and ready to take on the world. I don't know if I want to be in here or not. But no,
you just want to yell at
you got to get used to that.
I've never seen Yankee Marshall not yelling. He's probably dangerous when he gets quiet, like right now.
I just wanted to. It's always these competitive shooters that piss me off the fucking most, like PR Chico talking about there's no safe place to shoot a gun. I'm like, oh, you motherfucker.
Here's how you really get Yankee Marshall going.
Yeah, what a piece of garbage.
Is he anti-Celtic?
Adamantly.
That's how you get Yankee Marshall going right there.
I'm not gonna take any more of that shit. I'm out of here.
Strange, did you just hold up a Keltec?
Yeah.
Oh man.
I got no problem with him owning with Keltec. If he doesn't care enough about his life to carry a real gun, why should I care?
Oh man.
See, I told you.
Well, thanks for having me in the chat, guys. I'm gonna go to bed before I'm into more of the doghouse. But I needed to come and do something. I had a lot on my mind today. I lost an aunt today, and I just needed to come in this chat and talk about other things.
Sorry to hear about that.
That hopefully got your mind off it for a while.
Oh yeah, it was quite entertaining and enlightening.
Yeah, well, Swell, I appreciate you coming on, man. Anytime, let me know. You're always welcome, brother.
Thank you.
Yeah, good thing you got to go. So now, I was about to jump out, but now they're going to go, oh, all the black guys jumped out, so now I got to stay in here.
Damn. This is a good point to end it, I think.
Black guys, I can take my hand off my wallet.
Hey, I'm the whitest black guy you know, okay? So I'm not a threat.
Oh, that was horrible. So, G-Webs, you going to open up a lobby?
We have bandwidth issues, so if somebody can open up one, we will post it for sure.
Okay, so that's it's going to be someone.
That sounds like a no. Unless Cork or somebody's out there.
Yes, Cork or someone will open it up. Check out gunchannels.com. There's generally always a lobby chat going on, or someone from the community posting an after-hours chat. So, but I appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. It was a pretty good chat. Good topic. Stayed on topic. So,
he could open another chat room, but that would mean he'd have to close 3 of the 7 porn streams he's got going right now if he wanted to.
Well, this one's only got like $10 more, and then she's going live, so I'm not.
Yeah, I probably could if I only knew how.
Oh, that's too funny.
All right, guys, hit me up on whatever social media stuff you use out there.
Strange, let me know when you're coming back down to Georgia, brother. I was talking with Iraq. Whenever you go back to Iraq Vet, we're talking about all getting together, so let me know.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, yeah, I'll definitely hit you up or put it out there in the ether.
There you go, brother.
Yeah. All right, man. Peace out, guys. It was good chatting with you, Yankee Marshall. Usually you're on the opposite side of me because I am a Keltec fan, so it's kind of funny to get on with you, and we're kind of on the same side, so that's cool. You know, and I'm also a big fan of G-Web, so you do a lot of good work, man. But I thought you were a Yankee Marshall. I thought you were just like an alter ego that Yankee Marshall used.
It is just a puppet.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why you've never seen him.
Yeah, exactly. Right now, Yankee Marshall is typing something and G-Webs is talking. Do you see that? Yankee Marshall's hands are down. I'm going to start an internet rumor right now.
Yeah.
Yankee Marshall
my hand is up G-Web's ass right now.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
That's not G-Webs.
All right, guys.
All right, buddy. See you, man.
Cork is going to start one, it looks like, so we'll have a lobby going in a bit here.
All right. So everybody go check out Mr. Cork 71. All right, brother. And Sean, sorry I didn't see your message earlier.
Can we do the small talk after you turn off the light?
To be quite honest, look, it's embarrassing. I do computer work for a living, and the job that actually pays me. And when you said PM, I couldn't figure out how to make that happen on YouTube.
All right. Well, anyway, I'm gonna cut it off here. So it looks like Cork's gonna set another chat up. So everybody go check that out, and we'll talk to you next time.